Hello. Today we're going to do part 2 of our Superman drawing that we used the grid method before. So this is what we're going to work towards with noticing how it's showing depth with lighter and darker colors even on his muscles, and he has shadows there. The land has different values throughout it, and I will be showing you how to do that. So just to review, we started off with our 12 by 18 piece of paper. We did 2-inch by 2-inch squares on this, and you guys used pencil where I just used marker so it would show it better. Then we got this worksheet that has our Superman on it. You guys drew the grid lines on it. Then you drew your actual Superman onto the grid. And from this stage, once you were done drawing, you then outlined everything in a Sharpie, not the grid lines. Remember, my grid lines were only Sharpie so you could see them, but make sure you're doing that in pencil and then they all get erased. A good eraser like this is one because you will be erasing a lot when you have to remove everything to have a nice clean picture to start with your colored pencils. So when we move on to that, we have a nice clean picture. So from there, grab your colored pencils, and to start with, I pulled out blues because he has a blue suit. I have a red one, and I grabbed a purple for here. And you could always have white if you wanted. If you have red, purple, blue, purple, those would add for this. And if you have a couple of other shades of blue, that would work for the suit too. So let's get started. And I have things started and broke down to show you. So to start with, I'm grabbing my light blue, this is called sky blue. And then I have just the regular blue colored pencil. Depending on what brand, it may be called something else. It may be sky blue, it may be light blue. So to get started, we're going to look at a muscle structure of him. So we want something to look very realistic. We're going to have a lighter area, which is towards the top, and those are also known as highlights, and we want something darker underneath to where it's curving around and the light's really not seeing that. That's called the shadow area. So if you want, on another piece of paper, practice blending. So instead of always drawing this way with our colored pencil like how we would normally write, lay your pencil down and then you tilt it and color that way. It has a better surface, a better blending, and you're not going to get all those little scratchy marks. So to do this, we're going to color with our sky blue, and I'm not lightly coloring. I'm just going to keep going over it, pressing down, and notice how I'm not going towards all these extra little areas where it's curving outwards. That's where our shadows will be. So I want the top surface of where light will be touching, and I've went ahead and did all of this just so you could see. Here I'm doing really heavy, and then as I'm going out, I'm getting lighter. So really heavy towards all that top area, and then I'm getting lighter as I'm going out. The next thing you would be doing is adding the blue on top of it. So I'm just using regular blue, but if you even have a blue purple, like it's more blue than it is purple, a deep one that's just a little bit darker blue. It's depending on what brand you have. So this we're keeping light because that's called the highlight, the surface area where it's lighter. Then it's curving around, we want it to be darker. So this is where I'm going to be pressing hard with the colored pencil in these areas. And then as I'm coming outwards to where those highlight areas are, I'm not pressing as much. Also, I'm curving this as I go. And a reason behind that is I'm wanting to show the contour of his muscles. That's meaning how something is curving here. So instead of just coloring straight across, I'm going to color with a curve. So that's showing the contour of an object. The same here. Don't go straight across. Curve it. And just keep blending. You'll want to go back over it probably with your sky blue in a few areas to retouch areas up. But notice, once again, my pencils are laying down when I'm coloring. This I usually hold back a little bit further, as when I'm writing, I hold my pencil closer to the end. Here, it's a little bit back further, so I have more of a control of moving it back and forth. Also, I get longer movements if I move my whole arm when doing this, and not just my wrist, as in if I'm coloring this way, it's just little tiny wrist movements. So you'll keep blending this for the suit. The next part that we're going to work on is still part of him. It is his cape. And his cape, you're like, why is there purple and black there? Well, yes, it is red, but we want to add depth to his cape. So red, if we mix blue and red together, we would be getting purple. So this will help add to the shadow of a red color. Instead of just adding black, we're going to give it more dimension by putting the purple there. So looking at his suit, you see it waves back and forth. So this lower part is where it's going to be darker. Then it moves upwards with a curve. This is where it's lighter. Then it curves downwards, upwards, and downwards. And then this, because it's folded back and forth like a zigzag, we want to put some shadows in that and shadows in the fold. And then this part, you may be questioning why we have purple there also. That would be showing the shadow of his head is getting casted onto his cape right here. So once you've colored this all your purple colors, you're going to go in with your black now, and don't color the entire thing black because we're going to have it radiate out to something lighter, which would be blending with the red. So right in the center of all those, you're going to be pressing down with your black and then less pressure as we move outwards. So heavy pressure of black, and I'm following the way this is going. That's the contour of it again. And then I'm getting lighter as I go outwards. And then heavy pressure and then lighter as I go outwards. You can always go back and touch up more with your purple. And once you have all that done, it is now time for our red colored pencil, and it will look like this. So here is where our purple is, our black, and now we're just going to put red all over it. So don't color something just very light. We're wanting layering and layering of all of our colored pencils. So lay it down, remember, so you have a smoother blend. And I'm going to go over everything. And if I'm just like, that looks a little bit too light now, I feel there needs to be more shadow, I can always go back in with the other colored pencils and add some more of that dimension to it by putting that shadow in there more. And I could add some more purple in there. And this is all about layering to give it that dimension that the comic books have. And then I will show you in part 3 the next steps to do.